morning. Here I am outside my Clarkdale, Arizona studio. It's a beautiful day, and I'm walking in, and I'm going right over to my pastel area where I'm reworking a piece I had done for a class. Sometimes I do that. And I've got several different kinds of pastels. There's my Great American and some Terry Ludwig's, and a big assortment of a lot of different kinds that I dip into when I'm starting a painting. Here's some Richardson hand rolled, some light and shadow. Anyway, that's a little taste of my world. Thanks for visiting.
Connecting. Hi, Christine. How are you?
Hi there, Dasha. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. How's the weather today?
It's beautiful, but we have another windy day. That's been typical of this spring and early summer. But otherwise beautiful. Blue skies, really nice.
It's it's been quite a windy in Las Vegas too, so gusts like 20 miles per hour. So
Oh my
I
goodness. Yeah, we're a
yeah.
little windier than that, but that's okay as long as the fires stay away. That's a good thing.
Yeah, you entering in a wildfire season and you painted something what have to do with the wildfires recently.
I did. I have actually painted a few pieces of our wildfires. We think of them as being very destructive and horrible. They can certainly be that, but there's also a very wild beauty in them. And the couple that I painted recently are of fires that were allowed to burn. They call them controlled burns, but there's really no
Yeah.
such thing. And especially at night, they can be very beautiful if you look at them very objectively.
Absolutely. And I think the painting is on your Instagram and it's called Let It Burn, right?
That's right. Yes, that was the
Yeah,
recent one that I posted.
I love that image. I see some people joining us. So let me introduce ourselves. I'm Dasha Jamison with Red Rock Pastel Society of Nevada, and we are visiting
Nice
studio
to
today
meet you.
of Kristen Debrosky. She's very well-known pastel artist and has a lot of symbols behind her name. PSA, IF's Master Circle, Distinguished Pastelist of Pastel Society of Arizona.
Mhm.
So I think I got everything. Please correct me if I forgot something.
Oh, well, yes, there have been a few more over the years, and we call it alphabet soup. So I have alphabet soup.
I have a perfect slide for that. So it's
Oh, okay.
beautiful ribbons from your studio. Uh,
Yeah,
I'm fortunate to call Christine a friend, and I
yeah.
have visited your studio a couple of times. So last time I noticed these ribbons, and they were very pretty. So I decided to take a
Mhm.
picture for a good luck.
Yes, yeah, rainbows. It's nice. It's really wonderful. So yes, but of course we enjoy all the wonderful colors in pastel. I mean, my goodness, we're working with pure color. And the thing with pastel, we can never have too many.
Exactly. Yeah, I have your beautiful tray of pastels what captured me on one of the visits to your studio, and
Yeah.
you showed them in our like little studio tour what we did a couple of days ago before
Yeah.
announcing. That was wonderful. So,
Mhm.
Christine, please tell me, how did you start it with pastels?
Well, I had been painting for a few years and I was actually working in watercolor. And before, I'll backtrack. Before that, I had taken oil lessons when I was very young. And then I graduated to
Hello, I have
watercolor.
pastels.
Um, Because I had a young child at home, and I went into Albert Handel's workshop when he was teaching in Woodstock. And I explained to him that I had done a lot of watercolors, and he actually suggested that I do pastels over watercolor. So that's what I did for a little while to get my hands on the pastels. And I just fell in love with it and went on from there with it. I'll be a very honest. Albert is a very forceful personality, wonderful teacher, and it took me a year of working with the pastel before I found out how Christine Debrosky needed to use the pastels. So,
Wow.
yes.
That's very interesting. So you kind of think what you can learn from the teacher, but you still need to spend time with material so you can find your personality with any medium.
That's
And
right. Yes, that's really important. We each have our own unique voice, and sometimes it takes a while to find that, but we each have something special to say. And we can be influenced by different artists, but ultimately, we need to find our own way of working with whatever medium it happens to be.
thank you. And you do some work with oils too, and I've seen your oils, so I don't even know which ones I like better. So you have wonderful oils and pastels.
Oh, well,
Uh,
thank you for that.
So you have exhibition going on right now. Can you please tell more about it?
Yes, it's called High Desert Dreams, and it's a grouping of 70 paintings, mostly in pastel. And this was to originally have been exhibited at a space up in Sedona. Well, we know what happened back in March. It was canceled, of course. So I put it online. They're all on my website, and every day on Instagram and Facebook, I'm posting one, and I'm telling a little story about it. I've even done some videos of some of them. So it's online. And, I'm very happy to share them because it was also a way to share my nature-based paintings. And to me, and to so many people, nature images are calming and soothing and an escape. And I think we all need a little escape these days.
No,
So,
thank you for sharing. So we can find you on Instagram. Obviously, it's Christine Debrosky Fine Art.
mhm,
You daily posting on Facebook, and
mhm.
you have website and a wonderful, wonderful newsletter. You've been very kind in the last newsletter announcing this interview. I joined your newsletter a couple of years ago when we first met,
Mhm.
and you always try to tell the story. So I'm really enjoying being on your mailing list. That's always something to look forward to. And it's when I learn about plein air convention, what was going on in Sedona.
Mhm.
Hello?
That's
Yeah.
where we met. Yes.
Yes, so you've been painting right there in downtown Sedona,
Yes.
and that's how my experiments with pastel mat started, and I learned what you can use little brush on a pastel mat. That for
Oh,
some reason, that for some reason was something new because I haven't experienced this surface, and it's very different, like from UArt or Pastel Premier, what I
yes.
prior used. So I still enjoy working on pastel mat, and I'm thankful for that. Uh, Plein air convention, plein air painting. Um, you're also a member of Impressionistic Society. So, like, can I call you plein air impressionist? And can you
Oh,
tell more
sure.
about that?
Good. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And of course, I do a lot of studio work also. It's interesting. A lot of studio painters will say that their plein air work informs their studio work, but it also goes the other way. What I do in the studio helps me when I'm outside because in the studio I focus on design and maybe trying a new paper or a new technique. And that's not something that I want to even think about doing when I go out on plein air. I take that knowledge outside and I don't have to worry so much about, uh, coming up with a good composition because I do a lot of that when I'm working in the studio. I have the time to try to push design, maybe push color, et cetera, et cetera. And when you're out plein air painting, you just have to uh, keep track of the light and shadow, which changes very quickly when you're out there. So, one influences the other.
You
It's good.
wrote a wonderful blog about light and shadow and how especially it's changing in a high desert area for our Red Rock blog a couple of years ago. And guys, I'm gonna bring it up so you guys can read it. It's wonderful article. I think it's called Morning, Noon, and Afternoon in Red Rocks or something similar to that. And there is like, let's try to guess what time of the day this image is. I mean, Christine, you know what time of the day this image is, but
Yes.
you guys can you guess what time of day it is? You can type in the comments.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see the guesses.
Yeah, and I have a hello, Antonio. How are you today? We had interview with Antonio last week. It's on our Instagram TV. He's wonderful local Las Vegas artist, works with wildlife and portraits, really inspiring personality. So yeah, I have a question to you from our viewers.
Okay.
I brought red box, so I will try to get rid of it soon. How do
Okay.
you normally preserve pastel painting which have not been framed?
I use glassine, and I have flat files in my studio. So in fact, I can show you a piece. I'll be right back. I'll grab a piece.
Okay. Okay, guys, and you try to guess what time of the day is on a painting above.
Okay, this is glassine. I buy it in big rolls, and it's sort of like wax paper, but don't use wax paper because it's not archival. It's a
Only for baking. Can I use wax paper for baking?
yes, there you go.
Okay. Okay.
But anyway, I make sure it's an unwrinkled piece, a nice fresh piece, and put it right up against the pastel, and then put them in my flat files. So I hope that helps.
Thank you. Thank you for question. And Margie is trying to guess. She think it's early afternoon. Antonio is saying, I see blue, so it's 6 p.m. You guys need to read a blog, but actually it's up to the viewer, that's what makes art beautiful and individual. Like none of us alike, and two people looking at the same painting can tell different story. And if you ask the artist, artist can tell your story. So like whatever speaks to you, I guess. And your answer on how to preserve pastel was very helpful. Thank you, Christine.
You're welcome.
And
so should I say what time of day that painting is?
Yeah. Let's open the secret.
Okay, somebody said 6 p.m. It was actually about 6 o'clock in the morning. And if you notice the bright green striations by the trunk of the tree, That's how the sunlight just spills across my front yard very early in the morning. And I'll also say that since at the edges of the day, which I like to refer to very early morning and late afternoon, the conditions change just so quickly at that time of day that sometimes I go out consecutive mornings or late afternoons to try to get the light in the structure. In that particular piece, it's a mesquite, so there was a lot of structure, a lot of twists and turns in the branches. So I went out 2 consecutive mornings and painted that early in the morning. So
And
great guesses.
yeah, thank you guys for playing with us. So, and if you like, Christine is right outside of beautiful Sedona. And if you guys have been in the Southwest or anywhere where red rocks are present, you will notice that orange light, like it's just orange glow. Me moving from East Tennessee, like that was, there is everything so green and there is beautiful blue shadows, like almost any time of the day, and like very bluish green undertone. Moving to Sedona, moving to Las Vegas, going to Sedona for various things, that's been like one of the huge difference what I seen. It's like orange light, and I think like looking at the painting, I see what Christine captures beautifully. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I'll show you a Sedona painting that I have. Tell me if you can see this okay.
Hello from IFs. Hello. Hello, IFs team. Hello, Christine. Margie says she loves it. And this
Oh,
is
can you see
Sedona.
that?
Yes. And
Okay, so I'll move the phone so you can see some of the, hopefully some of the details in it. And here's another one, a brand new painting of the dirt. The rocks are beautiful and majestic, but sometimes when I go out on my hikes up in Sedona, sometimes it's the things that are right at my feet that I really like to paint.
speaking about hiking, you said what hiking is really helps you right now in many ways. Can you please elaborate on that?
Yes, in these times, you know, you turn on the news, you go to the grocery store and put on your mask, etc. Or there are a lot of places you can't go right now. So it's a real escape for me to go on my walks. I walk every day. You know, sometimes it's a really long walk, sometimes it's an hour-long walk. Sometimes I'll go up to Sedona and go on one of the beautiful trails. And I don't think of it as an escape away. I think of it as an escape to. And it's an escape to what's very meaningful for me. And it's the connection with nature. Because nature has always been a great solace and great joy to me. And that's what I try to convey in my paintings. It's my connection with between being in the outdoors and the viewer, because everybody loves to go out on a beautiful day. And on a dreary winter day, we could be stuck inside and can't wait to get out when the weather turns nicer. I know I really experienced that back in New York. Come March, oh goodness, we just couldn't wait to get out there when it was nice and balmy and able to enjoy ourselves. Yeah, going out in the winter is wonderful too. Don't get me wrong, but we do enjoy those wonderful blue sky, balmy, comfortable days.
Thank you so much. And you have beautiful gallery wall in your studio back in Sedona. So I put it up on the screen, and probably
Yes.
many of those been sold already, but I had that picture from my last visit. We had conversation once, but it's important for artists also to collect art and look at art. So you have quite a collection of art in your house yourself. Can you say why it's important for enough artists to collect artwork?
Oh
Like
my
what?
goodness. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. Yes, it's wonderful. Well, again, we each have our own voice, and when you're starting out, you like to search out the work of this artist and that artist, but you can't always paint like all of them. But sometimes it's enough to simply admire. So there are a lot of artists I admire, and if I can afford the painting, I just love to buy them. And when you own original art, you can see something a little different in it every single day. It's not the same as having a print or looking at things online. When you own original art, it speaks to you and inspires you. And to me, it's just such a joy to be able to enjoy other artists' work. Even though
Uh,
it may be vastly different from what I do, it's the admiration and the pure pleasure you get from enjoying it. And I see you just put up one of Tony Allen's
okay, I was going to, yes, Tony Allen also was on our interview series, and also I happened to notice you on one of his paintings, so it
Mhm.
means you fond of him. And let me ask you, whom do you like over uh, artists, contemporary or like historic figures? Can you please share what is your inspiration?
Okay, that's an interesting question, and I've been thinking about that over the past several days. When I was first starting out, of course, Georgia O'Keeffe, what young woman isn't inspired by her fierce independence? And certainly the Impressionists. I love the Russian Impressionists. Certainly Sorolla. I'll never forget the first time I saw his murals in New York at the Hispanic Society. It was on a very dreary, gloomy February day. I walked into a room full of his enormous murals that were just so full of life and light that I cried. It was a very moving experience.
Oh my gosh.
And I certainly admire Russian Impressionism very, very much. Volkov and I want to make sure I get his name right. There's a contemporary artist whose work I love very much. It's Vitaly Makarov. Am I saying?
It sounds like it would be a Russian name. I'm
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately not
Yeah, he is.
familiar. Vitaly Makarov. Hmm.
But anyway, in reality, it's being exposed to all different kinds of art. And it's actually hard for me to come up with a whole string of names because just about everything I look at influences me in some way. I think I told you about growing up in New York and having the access to galleries and world-class museums.
Oh.
Well, one of my favorite places to go in the Metropolitan Museum of Art was the Oceanic Wing. And that's where there's a lot of primitive art from New Guinea. And here you are in the middle of Manhattan with all the skyscrapers around, and you see this work that is just so primitive and raw and honest and has such a spirituality about it. It's things like that. And I've had a lifetime of things like that. It could be on one of my walks and seeing a rusty barrel that had been painted blue and it's been rusting. So there are all these beautiful orangey red colors coming up through it. And I get really excited about that. And I might go back to the studio and try to duplicate that coloring just because the colors juxtaposed were so exciting. So it's so many different things, Dasha, and it's continual. We're all constantly learning, and I think it's very important to keep learning. We talked about Tony Allen. I actually took a workshop with him last
Yes,
spring.
and I spoke to him this morning. We have a call scheduled for later, and he said hi. I asked,
Okay.
is there very story or picture? He like, unfortunately not, but I dig deep on your Instagram and I found this
Oh,
picture.
great.
You both guys look very handsome here. So, and so
Yes.
Anthony is wonderful
Oh,
artist and a
yes.
friend. So he said hi.
Oh,
And
great.
he had great time in Sedona with you.
Yes, yeah, he is a great teacher and a terrific artist and a lot of fun too. Those are the best kind of teachers.
I think I see familiar last name. Eric Debrosky joined us.
Oh, that's my son. Hi, Eric. Yay.
Hi,
Me
Eric.
too. He's in Virginia, so that's terrific.
Yeah, so so glad he's watching us.
Yeah,
Uh,
super. Yeah, great. Yeah,
so
that's
it's you're very accomplished artist yourself, and let's get back to continue education. So you keep learning from the
mhm.
things you see, and you learn on your daily walks. And but do you take workshops? So you mentioned Tony Alain's name, and like how does it help to established artists to learn attending somebody's workshop?
It, yes, it's again, we constantly learn. Michelangelo said at the end of his life, I have yet to learn. So it's important to continue, whether you read a new article by somebody that you admire. And of course, you know, the best is going to a workshop. You may not work like that person, and especially, well, you won't if you're an established artist, you're working like you work. But there's always something you can pick up. And for example, when I went to Tony's workshop, it was the confidence in his strokes that really inspired me. You know, he's just so wonderful at that. You know, going way back to Albert, way back, I won't even tell you how long ago that was. Um, I loved to hike in the Catskills because that was where we lived in New York at the time. And I wanted to learn how to paint the streams better. And we know Albert is wonderful with painting rocks and streams and so forth. So that certainly helped a great deal. So seeking out the artists that you admire, or sometimes you can get in a rut and going to somebody that does something completely different from the way that you do can shake things up a little bit. So it's always good.
Thank you. That was very insightful. And you teach workshops yourself too.
I do.
What are you trying to teach emerging or established artists when you teach? What is important for Christine Debrosky workshop approach?
Well, I always say it's all about the light, and it's learning about light and shadow because that's what it's all about. Establishing, well, seeing, first of all, it's seeing, and seeing the shadow patterns and establishing those patterns and letting the light dance amongst the shadows. So that's it in two words, light and shadow. And the quality of light at a particular time of day, because again, it's all about the light. It changes so drastically during the course of a day. So, and the color of light. Yeah, it's all about that. It
Thank
floats
you.
my boat. I don't get tired of it.
Well, you need to love something to speak about it. So you love light, and we definitely can see it in your paintings.
Well,
Uh,
thank you. I hope so.
we can not always can guess yet, but we will be educating ourselves. So daily paint works on your website. Your high dosage show on your website, Instagram, and a Facebook. To
That's
like,
right.
what other ways we can connect with you? Join your mailing list, probably.
Yes, yes, and it's very easy to sign up on my mailing list from my website. It's just www.christinedebrosky.com. And on every page of my website, there's a sign up for my newsletter at the bottom of the page. So it's very easy. Just takes a click and a little bit of information, and bang, you're on my mail list. I enjoy writing also, so it's actually fun for me to write the newsletters.
Yeah,
It's another
it's
way
very
of doing
different.
media.
It's yeah, it's not like marketing newsletter. It's more like capture of life of Christine at that particular moment. So
Yeah, yes, I
I
get that.
enjoy yeah, I enjoy getting them. Well,
Well, thank you.
thank you so much for being with us. I promised you it will be short and sweet. And how many paintings do you have left of your show to post?
I think there are about 8 to 10, so we're pretty close to wrapping that up. I started at the beginning of April, April 1st actually. So we're pretty close. So and it's been fun. I've actually a lot of new people by doing it, so that's always a good thing.
Yeah, that helps to stay engaged on social media. So you always will get new people attracted by your art, and especially in this time when we all trying to stay sane and uh,
Right.
looking at the beautiful things. It's not the worst thing what you can do with your time.
That's
So
right.
so please keep painting. Please keep sharing with us all amazing things you do. Christine, thank you for supporting Red Rock Pastel Society and
My
being a
pleasure.
great advisor.
My pleasure, Dasha. You are a delight, and I'm so glad you asked me today.
Yes, I'm so
It's
glad it
fun.
happened.
Yes, it's been a lot of fun. I see some comments. It's really very nice.
Yeah, thank you,
Great.
Margie. Thank you, happiest Artie Jerry. I love this Instagram handle. This is cool.
Oh, that's
I
a
hope
great
to. Yes,
name.
happiest artist. That's great. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, everybody who watched us. And if you guys gonna watch us on a replay, please drop a comment. Thank you so much, and see you soon. I see a lot of hearts. I think I lost Christine for a bit. Yes, and she's back. So, Christine, hope to see you soon. And Eric say great stuff, Ma. We see a lot of hearts. Drop a comment if you watched us, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. It was fun, and follow Christian Debrosky for amazing impressionistic paintings. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you, Dasha. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Christine. See you soon.
Okay.